Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, MP here. We have something in the CLI that we just added called operations. And how it works is if you run WCF operation, it will first ask what factory you want to look in, which is LRN Web Components. And then it's going to list all of the elements inside of that factory that you can search on. So in this case, if I want to work on the accent card, I'll search accent card, hit enter, and then based on that accent card's package.json, it'll list out what operations are listed in the script object. So in this case, we'll hit dev, and it will run that dev script, and we can start working. So it's pretty handy whenever you're working on lots of different elements. So that's something that you typically build large CLIs for, is that there are some things that that you do repetitively, or that your application is very large and you need a CLI to help out. And it also helps with visualizing. So in that case, I listed all of my operations, or all of my elements. There's a ton in there. So I needed to add that autocomplete functionality. So in a CLI, that's can get difficult. So CLIs, it's not as easy as building a front-end application, right? So what Vue.js did a little while ago is they started building a lot of their operations in a front-end visual tool. So whenever you download their CLI, you can start a front-end application where you can visually start running processes against your elements. And that's pretty cool. So I wanted to take a look at how we might convert that functionality into an API that we could use on the front end. So inside of WCFactory, I started a new branch called server. And inside the server branch, I created a new folder called GraphQL server. So I created a new Apollo server. And I'm using the exact same library that powers the CLI to get factories and get elements. And I'm exposing that as an API via my GraphQL server. So to spin this up, if you download the WCFactory and check out the server branch, is you can cd into the GraphQL server and type yarn dev, and then we'll start your GraphQL server. So click on localhost 4000, and it'll open up what's known as a GraphQL playground. So as you can see, this is exposing the same information that our CLI gives you access to. So by running the factories query, we can pick out that we want a name and location. We can hit play, and it will spit back out that information using the exact same method that our CLI uses. Pretty cool. So there's one for elements. So in this case, if you give it a factory location, it will go and find out all of the elements that are inside of that factory's monorepo. Pretty cool. So what we've done is we've exposed the CLI information as an actual API that can be queried on the front end. So now this would allow us to build a front end application to visually represent all of the things that our CLI is doing. And to give you an example of what that might look like is, remember that operation command that I demoed? What would that look like as an API? So here we have the run operation mutation, where you give it a location, in this case an element, and you say what operation would you like to run inside of that element. So if we hit start, then it's going to run through the start operation and show us this demo page. So that's the exact same thing that our CLI enabled us to do. But the cool thing is that we can now start visualizing this. So if you spin up, if you're inside the GraphQL server and you run yarn run start, yarn run demo, that will build a front-end application, and we'll click start. And what this is it's a little terminal emulator. And we can take a look at the code just real briefly. It's just a index.html file. We use the Xterm terminal emulator, and we also use an Apollo client to subscribe to some operations that are happening in the GraphQL server. So in GraphQL, you can make what are called subscriptions, and subscriptions start WebSockets, so they will publish events over a WebSocket for you. It's really convenient. And what we've done is we said inside of the run operation mutation, anytime you spawn a command, we're going to publish the output to the subscription. So we're going to publish it over the WebSocket. So all you had to do is subscribe to that WebSocket. And that's what we've done in our front-end application. So anything coming from that WebSocket, we're going to print in the terminal emulator. And what that looks like is, let's do this, move this out here. If I click run operation, it should, via the GraphQL API, pipe that output over the WebSocket and back to our front-end application. Awesome.